I'm George from Sarawak Tech. Our purpose is to help farmers in rural areas, but we're also bringing technologies that can be applied in other ways. We are bringing 3D printing to Fiji. My interest is practical parts, but there's a lot of interest from signage companies. And we're finding new applications all the time. For example, these standard size mason jars. It's a standard size canning jar. The problem is the steel lids they come with, in this climate they rust very quickly. Now when we're doing canning with vinegar, pickling with vinegar or canning, the original sealed lid that it's canned with then has to be taken off when it's opened, and then we need a lid that's not going to rust. And it just makes the mason jars into practical. In the kitchen, the plastic lids are necessary. We're having problems with the humidity, so this is a water-cooled Peltier cooling unit that was used for a large computer, but the original fittings require a positive pressure pump, which we don't have right now. So this frame here with the fittings is going to be sealed to these two aluminum blocks, and we'll just circulate cooling water through there and put this into a cabinet that's going to be sealed for storing the filament. One problem here is that the humidity destroys electronics, and there's thousands of little ants that get into them through the tiniest openings, and the screws rust. So with ours, we solder the wires directly to the circuit board. It is unsealed, and seal around the USBs inside, and there will be plugs for the USBs too. And this is just a small control box for temperature control, completely with the push buttons. Here's another temperature controller. This PID is very good, very practical for many applications here, but the small shoulder is very difficult for us to work with. So just cut a hole with a grinder, and then the 3D printed frame makes it easy to install. This is a 12-volt soldering iron that's excellent for solar systems. Because of the large tip, it's possible to solder the thick wires. The temperature sensor is right in the tip. We like to help people set up workshops, and we have to supply the tools, so some of them will make. This is a milliamp meter and voltmeter when we're adjusting LED lights. Just cover that, it's kind of bright. This is our first model, which is the best one I've used so far. People were asking me, farmers and fishermen, about headlights that they could use. Well, it's far too bright. You have just a very small area. The LEDs heat up and burn out. The batteries goes dead quickly, and there's absolutely no moisture protection. This would fail in no time. It's supposed to be a bicyclist headlight, but I guess only on clear, dry days. So with ours, the one button just turns the power on, and you have a low light so you can find it in the dark. And then there is one for just in the middle, or for wider, or all together. I find the light level is excellent for working at night. So this is going to be the second model, which is made from glow-in-the-dark material. And well, the Science 3D printed base, we'd like to get a laser engraver to be able to make them easier and faster and better. This is going to be a water pump. We have brushless motors, and that's going to be probably the circulation pump or something similar for our Peltier cooler. Then we needed these little angle brackets for heat sinks and other applications. We're working on healthy foods. These mini pizzas are made from local healthy ingredients, including the excellent Rewa dairy cheese. And they began with a 3D printed mold. And our baby duck here also began as a 3D print. There, he likes his chicken. Eggs, when they're in an incubator, need to be turned. So it becomes quite a chore when someone's got several hundred. So with this egg turner, they all flip at once. This is all they need. And this is just the beginning. For larger scale, they can be motorized. The advantage of ours is that the trays lift out one at a time, making it easier to work with. The frame is made from tulip tree, which is a very invasive species here. The government wants to get rid of it. It's a light, strong enough for the purpose, light wood. And okay, here we have a lot of these jugs, but we needed lids. Oh, and here's the new improved design for the egg turner tray. We have lots of these jugs with no lids, so they're a print. Lots of these lids now, and a round funnel, it makes it difficult for the air to get out. So the square funnel works much better, and well, it has a spin on it in a clockwise direction because that's how a low pressure area spins south of the equator. Then more signs, vehicle accessories. So here's the official three-dimensional printing Fiji sign. Gear shift. We'd like to work with villages to help people learn about things that they're really not familiar with. So we're going to set up like videos on USBs. So this is going to be like a video library that we can copy. Okay, here is when these electrical blocks are mounted on the wall, the ants can get in usually, even the lizards go in, lay eggs. And if someone wants to paint or move the power point or light switch, they have to go inside, take it apart. So it's much safer to make a backing plate like this. Then these tabs get melted to secure it. And then it becomes safer and more convenient. I brought a lot of this wire from Canada. The wire is normally inside the sheath. Can't get the connectors here. So that has a thread inside. And that's got a 1/2 inch thread outside, so it can be secured easily to the electrical box. This is just a small model of a sign that would be lit. It would of course be larger. The LED lights would go inside. The sides are glow in the dark. I was really amazed by this lion. The hair is a mane. I had no idea effects like this could be possible. So here's a test color print. Oh, and here's a lid for a jug that closes off the spout so the fruit flies don't get in. Then these are practical machine parts that we're working on. It's a sliding valve. And some other parts here with a seal made from the flexible material. This I don't know where oh, there's the bushing. Okay, the original bushing wore out, but the bushing was harder than the material that oops. The original bushing was harder than the faceplate material, so it wore at an angle. So this new printed bushing takes the angle into account, so it fits perfectly without wobbling. And then for the rear shaft seal, this is the flexible material. This machine is very useful to us. These parts would have been impossible to replace. Then here we have some architectural models. They're small. Oh, there's a sample of a 3D printed sign. This would of course be bigger with lit letters. Let's just get that lined up. Okay, so the floors come apart. There's even furniture that can be put in. So these models can come fully furnished. Well, I guess and then there's several variations, and There's another little one that comes apart. Well, I guess it comes furnished too now. So someone can have a look at the layout, change the walls if they want different size, different shapes. So we're hoping that architects internationally and locally here in Fiji can email us the files so that we can print out their models for their customers to see. Now this is a part from a Chinese food processing machine. It's not very well made, also be very hard to replace. So this is our version. The drive shaft is square because that will support the printed vanes better. So doing this kind of prototyping would be extremely difficult without the 3D printer. We're going to be making power banks. This is just the beginning of one. People have tools, power tools, where the batteries went dead. So these will be not just for charging a phone or a laptop, but we're going to have high amperage leads to run drills and other power tools. Now it's powering this little sign. We have a lot of interest from signage companies. I know it's not showing up very well on the video, but this turns a wall into light art. The beams are about 1 meter long at night. We just got the LEDs turned right down for the video. This is a practical exit sign. The letters are made with glow-in-the-dark material, and the flashing lights can be adjusted for different patterns and brightness. Then here are some modifications to the existing 3D printer components, especially for the flexible filament, which tends to get jammed up when it's coming out of the rollers. So there's a modification here where it just goes through a straight tube. Details about that in another video. Then some resorts or businesses would have a special font or logo where they don't want the cut lines from a regular stencil, so a 3D stencil. Then this was a stencil that was needed for a project that was being done here. I don't know how it's showing up in the video, but it would be quite difficult to cut this by hand, and the plastic is much better than the paper. So here's some of the filament we have. There's flexible and more than I want to be getting into right now. And since our theme is to be sustainable, our workshop is in a shipping container, and we're using as much salvaged, reclaimed material as possible. The workbenches are refrigerators, broken, like old discarded commercial refrigerators. The cabinets are also refrigerators. Usually the printers run on solar power, but today was a cloudy day, so we're using AC. Here's more incubator, the egg turner parts. Something I forgot to mention is the incubators themselves are made out of broken down refrigerators, and we make a small control box. And since we make it, we can fix it. Many people have told me about broken down incubators. Using a refrigerator and just a few electronic components is much more sustainable, I believe. Okay, did I miss anything? Well, 3D printers in action. The Creality so far have been the best. Somewhere down there is a G-Tech 3-color printer that was a real mess, and I guess it's still a work in progress. The Creality machines are really the best so far that we have. And there's an egg turner in progress there. Well, thank you for watching. This is, as far as I know, the first company that does 3D printing in Fiji.